Good morning and welcome to group exercise with the YMCA of York and York County. My name is Justin and this is seated gentle chair yoga. All you will need for this class is preferably armless chair and maybe a bottle of water if you want to take a drink at any point during the class. You can do it as I am wearing shoes. You can do it barefoot or you can do it in your socks, however you're most comfortable. So I'm going to try to move around a little bit during class today, just so that you can see everything that's going on as I cue, and hopefully we will get through this. So we're going to start out seated with a breathing exercise, because I really have wanted to do a series on myofascial yoga, and we're going to continue that today. So from a comfortable seated position with your lower back against the back of the chair, sitting up tall, let's go ahead and let the hands rest. So our first part of our breathing today is going to start with just a diaphragmatic breath. So you take both hands and put them over your lower belly. I'm going to go around belly button level, because the lower we breathe, the better in this case. So we're going to have the hands rather low, relax the shoulders, and try to breathe so the lower belly expands outward as you inhale and contracts back toward the center as you exhale. So really trying to make sure the stomach muscles are loose and relaxed. Inhaling and exhaling. Make sure the shoulders are down away from the ears as we breathe. The second position we're going to do is putting one hand on the chest just below the collarbone. We're going to start with a two-part breath, inhaling into the lower belly and then letting the chest rise. So belly first and then chest. As we exhale, we're going to do the opposite. Let the chest come down and then the belly go in. That might not feel very natural, but I want us to see if we can separate that into two movements. Let's do that one more time. Now, like I said, that might not feel like a very natural way to breathe. So our next breath, we're going to try to do both at the same time, breathing so that the stomach and the chest rise at equal rate. So we're just playing with the breath here. I don't want to focus on a specific technique. We're just exploring different ways to breathe, and we're going to continue that in the rest of the class. So let's try that again. Or both the stomach and the chest at the same time. Now again, shoulders should stay down and relaxed. We're just trying to move the trunk. So inhaling to the stomach and rib cage expand at the same time, at the same rate. So I like to say we're trying for an expressive breath. Just exploring that movement in your breath. Sorry, I really got into it there for a second. Let's go one more time. The next type of breath that we're going to look at is a lateral expansion in the rib cage. So the rib cage can, in some cases, we tend to hold a lot of tension here. So we're just going to play with this and explore this and see if we can feel it move. I want you to take your fingers. In this case, I'm using my thumbs, and just touch your rib cage. If that's too hard, you can go across. Just make sure that you're not tense, so that you're restricting that movement of the ribs. And what we're trying to do is inhale, and as you inhale, let the rib cage expand laterally. I think you actually may be able to see that on camera as I do it, getting the rib cage to expand laterally as I inhale and contract back toward the center as I exhale. So you're actually not moving the arms, they just rest there, and you're doing all the movement with the breath itself. And if you don't feel a lot of movement right now, don't worry about it. Just keep trying. As we go through our practice today, hopefully we'll loosen the breath a little bit. So the next part here, I'm going to take one hand and put it right on my collarbone, kind of at the U-dip in the neck, or kind of where my necklace is sitting, if you can see that. And what we're trying here is to inhale and get the chest to rise, or as if you're trying to make yourself taller. Because there are muscles in the neck that attach to the top part of the rib cage. You're trying to lift that up. So don't worry right now, this is not a diaphragmatic breath. I just want to play with this movement of the rib cage. So to kind of counterbalance this, let's take the hands and put them on the shoulders, because we're going to try to breathe so that the shoulders, we're not lifting the shoulders as you breathe. Shoulders stay down. And it's the rib cage that's rising up and down. So for the last piece of the puzzle, we've just been looking at the front side of the body, but the back side of the body can move too. So as you think about the back floating ribs at the base of the rib cage, we're going to try to get them to expand and contract as we breathe. So what I want you to do with your back against the chair, brace the feet a little bit and push your back into the chair just a little bit. And try to, as you breathe, feel the rib cage expanding out and back. And for the last, just strictly breathing exercise before we start moving, I want us to try a couple of breaths, maybe 3 breaths, seeing if you can move as much of your body as you can, inhaling and exhaling, with the arms and shoulders relaxed. So let's do a couple of breaths now. Expanding fully. And contracting fully too. So as we're breathing, can somebody give me a thumbs up or mention in the comments if you can hear my volume? I had an issue a while ago where I was not able to be heard. So if you can hear me, please go ahead and leave a comment on the side or hit the thumbs up. So I'm coming up. I didn't get any comments yet. Can you guys? Oh, I see my volume bar ticking. Okay. So finishing with the breathing, sitting up in the chair. We're going to start slow, but we will kind of ramp up this movement So don't worry. We're going to start going here. So your left hand, I'm going to mirror image you. So your left hand is going to be in your left leg. And the right arm, we're just going to sweep up and over. And then back. Just warming up. So inhale as we go up and over. And back. So we're just going to do a gentle extension as we reach. Inhale and exhale. In order to make this more effective, press down through your right hip as we come over. So we're extending two directions, up and over and back. So one more time. So we're going to come up and just rest the arm there. I don't want to actively reach too much, just kind of resting there. And take a couple of breaths. We're going to do 3 breaths, trying to expand the ribs. If you want, you can reach across and anchor yourself, or you can just leave your arm there. But focus on that breath. And as you breathe, you should be able to feel more of a stretch. So pulling through the right arm to come all the way up. I'm going to take my right hand to the right leg and then just range of motion with the left arm up and over a handful of times. So here we go. Up and over. Again, pressing down through your right hip and back. So when I say pressing down, I just mean keep it connected. Don't use a lot of force. We're warming up and we're just trying to get an active stretch to the muscles and the connective tissue that are in that area. Again, inhaling as we come up. On this last one, we're going to hold it. So coming up and over and breathe. Coming all the way up and out with the left arm. From here, we're going to go into a rotation. So I'm going to take your left arm, reach across, and reach out. So with my left leg, I'm just going to kind of keep it neutral or turn outwards a little bit to create this, again, counter stretch. So we're reaching and breathe here. Continue extending from the shoulder out to the fingertips. Again, leg active. You should be able to feel that as we turn. Just come back. Switching sides. Start reaching out with your right arm and then across the body, reaching from the shoulder out to the fingertips and keeping that right leg active. Just a little bit of a counter stretch. And breathe. One more breath. Coming back to the center. With the feet making a wide V shape. And we're using the hands on the knees here, lifting the chest and hinging forward. So I'm going to turn slightly in the chair as we do this. You're just going down and then back up. As we do this, you want to make sure you keep the spine extending so it's a flat back instead of collapsing. So just lightly extending out as you lean forward, hinging down, stretching into the inner thigh, maybe into the back, and then hinging back up. From here, coming down, and let the hands come down to shins, ankles, feet, or floor. Again, as long as you're lightly extending, you don't want to collapse too much. Lightly extend upward, and that will increase the stretch. Same thing with the legs. Again, just outward pressure from the knees, just a little bit. You want to go with how it feels, not what it looks like. So just hinging down, getting into the inner thigh and the back. Coming up, using the hands on the knees to support that process. Moving the feet back to the center. And before we come to standing, give me a big stretch up, reach, and down. Following that breath. For 3, 2, and 1. So coming up to standing, I need to make sure that my hands are going to be in frame. I'm going to move my chair out of the way a little bit, just for now. You want to make sure you're either right in front of the chair, behind the chair, or somewhere that you have enough space that you're not going to hit anything on either side of you. So we're going to do a couple of range of motion Tai Chi movements. I really like the way that they affect the connective tissue. Starting with one called playing with rainbows. So I'm going to let the hands float up and out to the left. My left arm reaches out. Fingertips of the right hand point toward the top of the forehead. Don't let that arm collapse. You're reaching here. And then we come up and over. Right arm out. Reaching out. Left fingertips toward the top of the head. So coming up. Shift your weight to the right leg. And reach out. So we get this stretch over here. Up. So again, left fingertips just kind of droop inwards toward the top of the head. Inhale up. Exhale out. I'm trying to do Tai Chi for yoga people here. So shifting the weight, sitting toward the side, stretching that hip and reaching with the arm to keep the core active. And exhale out. And keeping that slightly active feel through the arms will help with a little bit of muscular tension. Almost like you're a piece of seaweed underwater and you're swaying with that movement. If you can, also engage with the toes. We talked about this last time. Engage with the toes. You're kind of squeezing the floor with the toes as I come to the left and then to the right. That kind of keep the arch of the foot active as we go. Not really ever coming to a complete stop. Just floating to the end of the range of motion, extending, and then back up. Let's do one more time, both sides. It's kind of harder than it looks, I think. All the way up and let the arms down. So I want you to go on probably the left side of your chair, so my chair would be over here. And we're going to do another Tai Chi movement. I call it wave scratching on the beach. So your back foot, my right foot's going to be back, turned at an angle. The front foot can either be straight towards your screen or also out at an angle a little bit. But you want to make sure that as you shift back and forward, you're able to stay upright. As you come forward, trying to keep the hips under, you should feel a little bit of a stretch in the hip flexor and maybe in that back calf. So playing with that shift. Bring the hands up. Push towards your screen. And at the end of the push, the palms go flat and then slide back. So pushing forward. Sliding back. Again, just kind of paying attention to those leg stretches on the front of the hip, standing tall. I'm going to turn to the side here so we can get a side view on this movement. I'm pushing forward, tucking the hips under, extending through the fingertips, and sliding back. So it's a wave washing out on the beach, splashing out as foam, and retreating back into the water. Exhale out, inhale back. Letting your breath be the sound of the ocean. Let's go two more. Last one. Coming back and stepping in. We're going to switch legs. It's going to be left leg back, right leg forward. We're going to go through the same process this time of make sure you're not stepping out too far. I just had to move my foot back because you really do want to be able to maintain that upright trunk as we shift forward and back. Again, make sure the knee does not go past the toes, long spine. I'm not going to turn around this because the movement's the same, but I do want to shift that weight about equally on both legs. So when we're ready, coming back, hands up, pushing out, sliding back. So letting the arms be loose, tall to the top of your head, like you're balancing a glass or a teacup on top of your head. Nice, slow, relaxed breathing with the movement, and exhale as you push. So we're going to do four more. Nice and slow and relaxed. Last one, pushing out. Coming back and step in and down. All right, so our last touchy movement that we're going to do, and we're going to take this into our next yoga movement too. This is called spinning the wheels of fire. So again, let the hands float up. I'm going to start out to the left, big circle. Sweeping down as far as you want, knees, shins, feet, or floor, and then all the way back up. As I let my upper body go to the left, I'm shifting right to stretch across. And then down as I come across, I'm shifting my weight to the left so that I just reach across the body. That might not be traditional, but that's how we're doing it today because I think it's a really good fascial stretch for the trunk and has a nice pendulum feel to it. Shifting the weight left as I reach across and out, down, across, and up. Let's go one more time. At the top, we're just going to sway back the other direction. So we're going to shift my weight left, reaching across as I come across, shifting the weight to the right and around. Let's go 2 more. All the way up and let the arms down. From here on to more traditional yoga, we're going to start, again, a series here. Okay, good. With the hand on the hip, this is going to be a side bend. So I'm coming up and over. And just like we did sitting, we're just going to sway with that and back. Again, keep the big toe active on your right foot, squeezing the floor as you reach over. 2 more. Reach and back. So this one, we're going to hold it for just a little bit. Hold it, bracing yourself on your arm. And then we're going to go a little bit further. I'm going to drop my arm across the front of the body, up and over. Stretch, drop, up. So don't just circle it. I want to come to the stretch here. Stretch, and then drop. So last one, up and over. And we have one more thing that we're going to do. I'm trying to rotate this shoulder back, and I'm actually turning my palm toward the ceiling. Back a little bit, and then in, feeling how that stretch will feel a little bit different. So I'm trying to open the hip and the rib cage outwards, and then back in. One more time. Opening out. Hanging there for a second. That should feel good. And then pull through your right arm to come up. So we've done a lot of upper body stuff. Stay with me. We'll get to the legs too. We're going to do another side bend here on the opposite side. So bracing your arm, we're going to go up and over. Just flow up and over and back. Up and over and back. I'm doing 4 of these and 3 arm circles. I'm going to do the last one here. I think that's 4. Up and over and hold it. Again, keeping that big toe active on your left foot. And now drop that arm across. So we go 3, up and over. Stretch. 2, around, up and over. Stretch. And 1, around, up and over, stretch. Same thing on the other side. Last piece of this is we're going to rotate out. I'm going to turn my palm. You don't have to, but you're opening from the shoulder or the rib cage outward and then in. Again for 3, 2, outward. Feel how it changes the stretch. And again, just how gentle with it. You're feeling, kind of playing with the plasticity and elasticity of the muscles here. And then pull through the left arm to come up. All right. So we're going to take a break from side bending here for a second and go into downward facing dog. So you're going to go behind the chair with the back of your hand, so the hands on the back of your chair, and then step back. Try to make your body an L shape. So the first thing that I want to do here is just sink into the shoulders. Try to sink into the shoulders. And then go side to side with it. So shift to the left shoulder and right shoulder, or towards your screen and away from your screen, whichever way you're facing, I'm sideways. You're also going to go hip to hip a little bit. So as we do that, getting into the arms, extend the fingers too. Think about a cat stretching. Extend through that arm, wiggle, and then other arm, stretching side to side. Extending through the arm, side to side. Moving to the lower bone, let's just do a couple in the center. Sink down, sink down. Then the same thing with the legs. I'm going to bend one knee and straighten the other one. Kind of shifting my weight into that hip, side to side. Just like the arms, as we do this, lift the toes on that same side. Just the toes. You don't have to go up on the ball of the foot, or up on the heel rather. Shifting side to side. Let's get the whole body into it as I go left. Lift the toes, extend, stretch, stretch. Not a static down dog. Stretch. Now if you do floor yoga, you can do this with your down dog too, and I would encourage you to do it so it's not a real static down dog. Stretch, stretch. Okay. Now in the center, I'm going to try to lift the tailbone. Lift the tailbone, tuck and lift, and then do the whole thing. Sink, lift, stretch the toes. Sink, lift the tailbone, stretch the toes. One more time. Bend the knee, drop the hips, slowly coming up, all the way up, head and shoulders coming up last. Sticking with the arms here. So doing a back bend, we have a couple of options. You can do hands on the lower back. You can do interlace the fingers, reaching down. You can grab up with your forearms or reverse prayer, whatever position you prefer. I'm going to go interlace the fingers, shoulders back, knuckles down. Tuck the hips under and lift the sternum, lift the rib cage a little bit. And then I'm going to tuck the chin and roll up. So you create an extension to the front of the body, emphasizing shoulders back and down. From here, we can kind of stretch the head a little. Nice and slow. Big stretch up and back. Big breath up into the front of the chest. And release nice and slow. Release the hands and shake it out. So right now, again, we're behind the chair. I'm going to move mine out of the way. And now we're going to look at side angle and triangle. Side angle and triangle. So side angle first, feet wide, and turn my left toes out, and then kick the right heel out. I don't want to labor the form too much because I do that in other classes. So we're just going to bend the knee and use your hand or forearm to go to the thigh. If you're already real comfortable with yoga and you want to go down on the inside or the outside to the floor, you can go ahead. But it should be a comfortable position. So it's the same as we have been doing, up and over, again for 4 and back. 3. 2. Stretch. Last one. Up and over and reach. So I'm going to drop this across, coming up and around. Drop it across, up and around. You can always reach and then down and try to stretch this area out. Reach. Long line from the toes to the fingertips. And then take that arm and rotate back a little and in a little for 3, 2, and one more time. Back. Using the right arm to pull up. Squaring off, I want to do the same thing on the opposite side. So I start with the feet square, toes and sides of the feet square, and then turn that foot out and kick the heel out. Bring the hand or forearm to the thigh, or again, if you're going toward the floor, using the opposite arm, we go up and over for 4, 3, 2, and one more time. So hold it there for a second, then we're going to drop across the front of the body and up and over. Stretch and then down and across, up and over. One more time, down and across. Up and over. And then take that arm, we're going to rotate, opening, and then back toward the center. So really spiraling the hand, turning the pinky finger out, opening, and then turning the pinky finger in and spiral. One more time, out and back, and then pulling through the left arm to come up. All right, square off. Going into triangle from here. So again, this is just to get this twist in. It's a regular triangle. I'm just going to reach for the horizon, extending out, hips out, arm out, and then take that hand and find where your leg bends and push in there, almost on the top of the thigh. Push in to get that stretch in the leg and then down. I'm just going to go here because I don't want to collapse the trunk. I'm going to try to stay parallel, reaching opposite directions. Again, reaching to the fingers, engaging with the floor. Pulling through your right arm to come up. I'm going to take my left hand and put it on my hip. My right arm, I'm going to start reaching out and then turn across, reach toward the horizon and lower down. My right or left hand, I'm going to put palm to palm and then open. So you're going to be turning away from me probably. Open toward the back of the room. I'm not letting this hip collapse. I'm kind of keeping it outward a little bit to create that twist through the trunk. And keep that spine long. Lift it up. One more big breath. And down. Bend the knee. And you can use your hands or just to strengthen your trunk to come up and square off. So, same thing, other side. Triangle. And then revolve triangle. So again, I like to kick that heel out a little bit. So just a little left hip forward. Reach with the right arm out toward the horizon. Away, away, away. And then press into the hip. And then down. Again, side of the body square. Trunk as parallel as you can be. Or at least going that direction. Now, as we're here extending and breathing, you might find you have some extra space to wiggle and slide down, but I would not encourage you to reach down, because then you're going to lean and curve that trunk and break that integrity, not using the core muscles as much. I always prefer an active stretch. And coming up, take the right hand to the hip, reach out, across, toward the horizon, away, and then down, just to the left. I'm going to go palm to palm with the right hand, and then open out. Again, trying to keep that hip out just a little. You don't want to let it collapse too far in. So open out. Again, long spine. Coming back to the center and all the way up. Squaring off. Narrow your stance. So we've done lateral movements. I want to do a forward-backward movement too. So we're going to go to the left side of your chair. Making sure that you're not too close and you're going to bump into the chair. So starting out, stepping back. Let's do that again. Stepping back with the left leg. And the reason I wanted to do this again is the tendency is when you step back is that hip is going to drop outwards. So what we want to do is just kind of square it off toward the screen and then bend the knee. Long spine, so you're trying to feel that stretch through the front of the hip, and you're pushing back to the outside of your left ankle. For this one, I want to sweep forwards and up like you're lifting a big ball, because I want to emphasize that back bend up and back. So we're extending, push through the heels, squeeze and tuck a little, lift the sternum, and you're pointing up and pulling back. And again, we can do that as a pulse sink right into this muscle here. So you're actively trying to pelvic tilt and not let that back arch a lot. Up and back. So that you're moving forward here and up and back with the arms. Wiggle is a very important technical term in yoga. So from here, I'm going to straighten that leg and bring the hands to the thigh, sliding down. And again, we can kind of turn a little bit there. From here, extend up, just lifting a little bit. Front knee should not be locked. And bending the knee to come up. So again, our focus, our emphasis in our class today is staying engaged across our whole tensional structure. And if you kind of feel what we're doing, hopefully you understand what that means, that we're really from the fingertips to the tips of your toes to the top of your head, we're extending through the poses. I get you excited about that. So going to the right side of your chair, just same thing, warrior one, and our forward fold. You also notice I do not really use the yoga names for stuff because I think that adds a layer between the person and the practice. So I'm not going to be doing that much. With your left foot forward, right foot back, again, square. Just enough to feel it. Bending the knee. So we're trying to share with both hips, but really get into the front of that hip. And then we're going to sweep forward, up, and back. And we can do that as a pulse, sinking into the front of that hip. Tucking under, engage the glute, and extend through the arms. So really, it's tuck and sink. So coming down, pushing back, tuck and sink. Tuck and sink. So we're moving up and back. And again, it doesn't really matter what your pose looks like. I'd rather have a higher warrior one where we're feeling that stretch and extending through the body instead of trying to get just into a deep pose. So focus on that tuck today. And then straightening that front knee, not locking it. I'm going to slide down, keeping my spine extended. And again, not letting that rotate that hip a little bit. But you want to extend through the tailbone and extend through the trunk. bending the knee, using the hands, or just your own strength to come up and step in. All right. Okay. So we're going to start to come down to the chair now for the last part of our class. If you need to, go get some water. So I think what we'll do now at the end here, as we start to come to an end, is just play with some of these movements and extensions versus really stretching, if you know what I mean. So yeah, starting with the right arm, reach, and try to go as long as you can. Your arm starts down here, and we reach up toward the ceiling. My left arm, I'm going to reach down toward the floor. Just toward the floor, not, so this arm goes straight toward the ceiling, straight toward the floor, elongating away from each other, and then back up. Same thing, start with the left arm up, extend, your arm starts here, and go all the way up, and then my right arm reaching toward the floor, straight toward the ceiling, straight toward the floor. Slowly coming back down, reach out, push the walls away. Shoulders down and apart, stretch. We can do that as a pulse, push, push. Moving the head, reach and push. Down and across, reach and push. All the way down. Turn the palms toward the screen. Interlace your fingers, give me knuckles out. And you can really reaching, almost rounding the back, turning the thumbs away, and continuing to reach. And then get your palms out. Knuckles out, take it up, palms out, reach, and wiggle. Stretch, 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 and release. Shake it out. So from a neutral position with arms down, rotate those thumbs back, opening the chest, pulling back through the thumbs, lifting and maybe lifting the head, and taking some big breaths across the front of the chest there. And relax down. Shake it out. Stretching out. Left leg. So again, I'm going to reach. Reach, not toward the toe, just out and away. Reach, extend, and pull back. As you reach, flex the toes up. Flex the toes up. Reach. And then you can come down to shin, ankle, or foot, or just have the hands on the opposite leg. This is fine too. It's leaning forward with the toes flexed, extending the trunk. We'll stretch that hamstring just fine. Slowly coming up. I'm going to scoot back a little bit because the next thing we're going to do is kind of rotate. I'm keeping the ankle and turning the toes inward. So your pinky toe is out and your big toe is scooping in. You're not really rotating the whole leg and turning it's just the toe, rotate, and then lean forward again. And that should stretch down into your shin. Again, slowly coming up. Rotate the leg and then switch feet. So I'm going out with the right foot, toes up, starting out, reach, extend, reach, and then back. and then reach one more time. Reach. And then letting your hands go either to the leg or to your shin, ankle, or foot, wherever you're most comfortable. But again, lifting the toes, extending the trunk. Slowly coming up. I'm going to turn on the heel. So again, just rotating the toes in, not just turning the whole leg. That won't give you the same stretch. We're going to turn the toes in, leaning forward, and plant. See if you can feel that down into the shin. All right, so slowly coming up, moving the feet flat, and then out to a wide V shape. Doing this one again, so hinge up and then forward. We're already stretched out, so you don't have to do range of motion here. We're going to come to where you're comfortable, and then lower down to the shin, ankle, feet, or floor. This time letting the head hang toward the center of the earth. Hanging down, release the neck, shake no, say no, shake yeah. Again, a little bit of outward movement from the legs. Slowly coming up from here, all the way up. All right. Scooting back in the chair. So just like we did before, we're going to reach out with left arm stretch out and away and down. Left arm out and away and down. Right leg stretch from the hip out to the toe and down, and same with left leg, right arm and right leg as far away from each other as you can get. Just bracing the trunk a little, and then left arm and left leg same. Stay with me. Left arm and right leg. Right arm and left leg. And you need the back of the chair for this one. Give me a big starfish stretch 3 times. Everything goes out. Inhale. And down. Out. And down. Last one. Out. And down. So we're to the end of the practice. Our last couple of minutes I would like to use is almost an opposite type of exercise. So for the last almost hour, we've been actively tensioning and engaging and reaching through the limbs, trying to use the trunk as our center anchor point. So now we're going to do the opposite and consciously let everything relax, consciously let everything go. Now, I want to think of this as like a myofascial unwinding. So it's not just like you drop a bag of coins on the table and poof, it's done, that's it. No, we're going to stretch out, make sure that the feet are not flat so the legs are not raised, and then shake it out and move, wiggle the toes, and then let them rest. Shake the legs, shake the arms, get all those little bones and the fingers shaking. And then rest. And then do it at a more subtle level. Moving the jaw, moving the head. Try to stretch little areas of the body away from each other. Settling the arms, sinking in the chair, allowing this to be an ongoing process of gradually, maybe you stretch the fingers real wide, and then maybe you stretch out with the arms, and then rest. We're trying to actively, slowly, consciously let stuff go. So maybe not as passive of a rest as Savasana. But again, in my personal philosophy of yoga, Savasana or corpse pose, that's why I said I don't use yoga terms, but Savasana is corpse pose, and I don't think that has to do with anything morbid. I think it's talking about the total lack of tension or tone or residual muscular contraction. Totally loose, totally limp. So if I picked up the arm and let it go, it will drop. Totally relaxed. Stomach muscles are let go. You're at home, alone, in a room, probably, hopefully, maybe. So you can let it hang out. It's okay, I am. So going through, even if you want to close your eyes and walk your way through your body, trying to say, can I relax my forehead and my little muscles up at the top of the temples? Can I relax my jaw? Is my neck muscles relaxed? Is my abs and belly really as let go as I can? Is my leg really in the best position to stay loose, or am I still bracing with the heel? So kind of being honest with yourself about what you can let go and how you can let go a little bit more. And here's the where visualization can be very helpful, because you're imagining maybe like a glowing golden wire slowly unwinding up the arm, taking all of the tension with it as it goes, the fizzling red sparks burning away any tension, unwinding through the structures, unwinding up through the arm, up through the top of the head and away. So allowing that visualization to unwind wherever you feel like it's tight, and the mind and the body will listen to each other and try to mimic that image. You can use visualization very usefully in doing that and playing with some of that imagery of unwinding and dissolving or removing whatever's a useful image for you. I always thought like a red hot wire that's unwinding and evaporating any tension was useful for me. But I encourage you to play with that. Maybe just sitting and setting a timer for a few minutes and playing with the physical release, because the visualization has to mean something. You can't be tense and visualize relaxation. But relax yourself physically first, and then use a visualization after that, is what I would recommend. So you've reached the end of our time. If you want, stretch however you think it would feel good. Stretch however you think it would feel good. If you liked this workout, please consider liking this video, hitting the thumbs up, sharing it wherever you use social media, and subscribing to the channel. So thank you very much. I hope you had a good time today. I hope you feel good, and I hope you're able to carry this practice with you through the rest of your weekend. So as always, I just want to say thank you for sharing your presence in this digital space. Thank you for sharing your practice with the rest of us, and thank you for virtually sharing your breath. Namaste.